Good morning. I am Cori Mackey. I am married to my wife, Megan. I am a mother to our son, Connor. I am endlessly restless and angered about the reality of poverty, oppression, injustice, and racism. I am AHCC. The reality of my last I am statement, I am AHCC, still stops me in my tracks from time to time, still causes tears to well up, still feels unreal, and continues to fill me with hope for the Christian community. Church has been a part of my life since my earliest days. I was born into a Catholic family and brought up attending Sunday Mass and Monday night religious education classes. I attended a Catholic high school where I was introduced to social justice and spirituality. I became involved in the Justice Club, tutored kids in the inner city, went on mission trips, and developed a prayer life. At that time in my life, my image of God was as a compassionate friend and an energy that I experienced most directly when I was immersed in the daily realities of those who were poor. I started attending daily Mass at my parish my junior year, despite being the youngest by about 70 years. I felt a little out of place, but it was the only space where I could make sense of the poverty and disparity I was experiencing. I tutored kids who couldn't find socks to wear in the winter and ate lunch with high school students who drove BMWs. These different realities caused a tension within me. I didn't understand how some could have so much and others so little. At Mass each day, I found comfort and challenge in a God who seemed to be on the side of those who suffered. Jesus, in just about every scripture passage, seemed to be instructing, modeling, preaching, demanding that his followers needed to be about the poor, or perhaps not about him. It's hard to know why this resonated with me at such a young age, but I felt a strong sense of call. My interest in social justice grew, as did my interest in religion. I discerned entering religious life, and in fact was voted most likely to join the convent in my senior yearbook, every senior's dream. You can imagine my mother's relief as I told her a few years later that I did not want to be a nun, given her deep desire to be a grandmother, but in the same breath explained that it was because I was a lesbian and wanted to be in a relationship. It was not my most pastoral moment, but thankfully she has recovered well. I followed my love for religion and spirituality and earned a degree in religious studies and then went on to seminary so that I could be well equipped for ministry in the church. For 10 years, I worked as the director of social justice for 2 Catholic archdioceses. I was able to negotiate my love and passion for the church with my life as a lesbian. It was painful at times, but I was surrounded by people who loved and accepted me. I chose to live my personal life quietly so that I could engage in the ministry I felt so called to do. I was very clear about the church's position on homosexuality, and I struggled with it greatly. But I believed I was making a difference. I was engaged in working alongside our sisters and brothers who were marginalized and vulnerable, working to find solutions, working to change laws, and working to increase understanding and awareness about systemic injustice among parishioners. I spent my days linking liturgy with justice and church teaching to social change. That lasted for 10 years, and then everything changed. I fell in love with Megan, and we decided to get married. Due to a set of unfortunate circumstances, church officials became aware that I was a lesbian and in a relationship, and I was asked to resign from my position. The irony of being asked to vacate my job as the director of social justice because of my love for another human being has never been lost on me or those who love me. While I knew I would not be able to negotiate the church's teaching on homosexuality in my personal life forever, I was not prepared for it to end this way. Nor was I emotionally prepared to lose a job that also disconnected me from my family of faith. My last day on the job was Holy Thursday. I couldn't imagine not attending Holy Week liturgies. I looked forward to Holy Week, and in particular the Easter Vigil, all year long. Filled with grief and sorrow, I mustered the strength to go to Easter Mass. The trumpets were blaring, and we were proclaiming that Christ is risen. But inside, I was having a Good Friday experience. It was a suffering I had never known. Everything I stood for, everything I believed in, everything I was prepared for academically was turned upside down. I felt a spiritual homelessness that I had never felt. Where would I go? Who would accept me? I was lost, I was angry, I was scared. There were many days where I found comfort in God's embrace, but it took the kindness of strangers and the welcome of a new church community to fully experience the joy and grace of God's presence again. That's where this congregation came into my life. I was connected to an attorney who, free of charge, helped me navigate the waters of termination and helped me to understand my rights. He did so compassionately and gracefully. He happened to be a member here, and when he heard my story, ever so gently invited me to attend. I just wasn't ready. Then I started a new job, and a colleague belonged to AHCC, and he invited me to attend. I still wasn't ready. After about a year, I was ready to begin searching for a new community of faith. I visited a number of churches, all very nice, but nothing felt quite right. The echoes of those who invited me here continued to ring. I stopped in here one Sunday to check it out, already convinced that it was too big, too white, too straight, too whatever. Within minutes, I had a deep sense that this was home. Megan and I joined the church about a year ago. While I couldn't imagine finding a new church, a new family of faith, it was even harder to imagine that our son Connor, a son of lesbians, would be baptized and welcomed so publicly into this church. When the congregation committed to loving him and raising him in the faith just a few months ago, I felt an inner joy that brought me to tears. It felt like Easter Sunday. Christ had risen again in my heart through the inclusion and hospitality of this family of faith. We have found a home here at HCC, a community that is questioning, searching, serving, and faithfully working to grow even more into a community of justice. I am challenged by the sermons. I am filled with joy by the sense of community that exists. I am inspired by the liturgies, and I am thankful for the journey that brought me here.